Queen Elizabeth's diary reveals shocking secrets about Princess Diana's tragic death. The entries describe tense royal conflicts, hidden fears, and ominous warnings that rewrite everything we thought we knew about that fateful night. This diary paints a picture that differs markedly from the polished royal image presented to the world. Let's uncover these disturbing words and face the truth that still lurks in the shadows. Queen Elizabeth's observations about the late Princess Diana reveal more than just her public persona. The diary describes her as a woman battling a system designed to consume individuality and replace it with a rigidly controlled persona. It is a story filled with moments of isolation, betrayal, and suspicion, told in stark language by someone observing from the inside. According to these pages, the relationship between Queen Elizabeth and this iconic royal was far more intricate and fraught than the public was ever led to believe. Behind the smiles, shadows hid secrets that could rewrite history. The notes delve into the turbulent entry of the young princess into royal life, where she faced relentless expectations that clashed with her own sense of self. She was not just trying to fit into the royal mold, she was being reshaped by it. The diary suggests the royal family saw her as a puzzle piece, something to slot neatly into place. Her individuality and humanity, however, often seemed to be an afterthought in a world where protocol ruled supreme. The breakdown of her marriage to Prince Charles is explored in harrowing detail. It is claimed that the Queen was aware of the cracks in their relationship long before the public was. The diary hints at meetings, hushed conversations, and futile attempts to maintain appearances. There is an acknowledgement that the princess's struggles were not just private turmoil, they were systemic failings within an institution that prioritized image over empathy. Her battles with mental health, her struggles with bulimia, and her cries for help were not only documented, but also observed with a mix of concern and detachment. One of the more chilling sections discusses her fears for her own safety. The diary recounts moments when the royal reportedly confided her suspicions about being monitored or manipulated. Whether these were unfounded worries or keen observations, the entries do not take a definitive stance. Instead, they echo her own sentiments, a mix of fear and determination to protect her sons from a system she believed could crush their spirit. Her connection with her children, William and Harry, is also a recurring theme. The diary speaks of her tireless efforts to shield them from the more toxic aspects of royal life. She wanted her boys to grow up with a sense of normalcy and individuality, something she felt was often sacrificed at the altar of royal duty. Queen Elizabeth's perspective on this is presented as conflicted, admiration for the princess's maternal instincts mingled with frustration over the disruption her approach brought to the royal routine. Then there are the reflections on her untimely death, which remain vague yet deeply unsettling. The diary does not offer direct accusations or conspiracy theories, but it does express a sense of unfinished business, as though the true story of what led to that tragic event might never be fully understood. It is not just the what and the how, it is the why that lingers in these pages. The Queen's words convey a haunting mix of regret, sorrow, and questions that even she could not answer. The diary also addresses the media's relentless role in shaping the late princess's narrative. The Queen's observations reveal a deep understanding of how the press operates, likening it to a beast that cannot be tamed. Her fame was a double-edged sword. It made her a global icon but also left her exposed to endless scrutiny and manipulation. According to these reflections, the royal family viewed the media as both an ally and an adversary, a relationship fraught with danger and necessity. Additionally, the diary explores Diana's humanitarian efforts, which were often seen as both groundbreaking and disruptive. The Queen's writings suggest a grudging respect for her ability to connect with people on a deeply human level, something that did not always align with the royal family's traditional approach to charity. These entries hint at a tension between admiration for her work and concern over how it affected the royal family's carefully curated image. What stands out most in these pages is the stark contrast between the public facade of harmony and the private reality of conflict and disconnection. The diary's tone oscillates between clinical observation and personal reflection, creating a complex picture of a monarch navigating a rapidly changing world while trying to uphold traditions that seemed increasingly out of step with modern expectations. The entries about Diana's legacy are especially poignant. The diary suggests that the Queen recognized, perhaps too late, the profound impact Diana had on the monarchy and the public. Her ability to connect with ordinary people, to show vulnerability and authenticity, was something the royal family had struggled to emulate. The Queen's reflections hint at an awareness that Diana's approach might have been the key to the monarchy's survival in the 21st century. Further entries highlight the Queen's observations on Diana's personal reinvention. The Princess of Wales was not content to remain a passive figurehead. She used her position to shine a spotlight on critical issues, from landmine victims to the stigma surrounding illnesses such as AIDS. These endeavors were not without controversy. The diary notes how her hands-on approach often clashed with royal protocols, making her both a beloved figure and a source of tension within the institution. Her battle with mental health is another recurring subject in the diary. Queen Elizabeth's writings reveal a mix of concern and helplessness in the face of Diana's struggles. The princess's candid admissions about her depression and eating disorders were groundbreaking for their time, challenging the silence that often surrounded such topics in elite circles. These revelations reportedly forced the monarchy to confront issues it had long ignored, though the process was fraught with resistance and discomfort. The diary also hints at the intricate dynamics within the royal family, where relationships were often governed by unspoken rules and rigid expectations. Diana's outsider status and her natural warmth made her a target of both admiration and resentment. The Queen's entries suggest a deep awareness of the emotional toll this environment took on her, even as the institution struggled to adapt to her unique approach. One striking section reflects on Diana's desire to break free from royal constraints. The diary describes plans she reportedly made to relocate, possibly abroad, in pursuit of a life where her sons could experience greater freedom. These aspirations were met with skepticism and concern within the royal household, highlighting the tension between her personal ambitions and the expectations placed upon her as a member of the monarchy. The Queen's entries also touch on the aftermath of Diana's passing. The public outpouring of grief and anger took the royal family by surprise, forcing them to reconsider their approach to public relations and personal connection. These pages reveal a monarch grappling with the weight of public expectation and the realization that Diana's legacy could not be easily contained or dismissed. The diary's observations extend to Diana's relationships beyond the palace walls. The Queen's perspective offers a nuanced view of her romantic entanglements, presenting them as both a source of solace and additional scrutiny. These reflections capture the complexity of a woman striving for genuine connection while navigating the relentless pressures of her public role. In exploring Diana's impact on the monarchy, the diary does not shy away from acknowledging the challenges she posed. Her insistence on authenticity and emotional openness often clashed with the institution's preference for stoicism and decorum. Yet, these same qualities endear her to millions, creating a paradox that the royal family has struggled to reconcile. The diary's pages are also filled with reflections on the power dynamics within the palace. The Queen's writings describe a world where influence was wielded subtly, often behind the scenes. The diary ends with questions unanswered, leading to the night that changed everything. Diana's final hours remained shrouded in mystery nearly 30 years later. Her death in a high-speed car crash still raises countless questions. While the official explanation blames paparazzi chasing the car, many remain unconvinced, pointing to lingering doubts and unusual circumstances surrounding that fateful night. One of the biggest questions concerns the lack of closed-circuit television footage. How is it that the most photographed woman in the world, constantly surrounded by cameras, had no video evidence capturing her final moments? The absence of footage has been a major sticking point for skeptics. Then there's the issue of the driver, Henri Paul, the acting head of security at the Ritz Hotel. He volunteered to drive that night despite not being a professional chauffeur. Professional chauffeur. What's even stranger is that he was allegedly intoxicated, with a blood alcohol level reportedly 3 times the legal limit. Yet those who knew him claimed he wasn't a heavy drinker, and his colleagues said he didn't appear drunk before getting behind the wheel. Even more unsettling are her own words. She confided in two people that if she were ever to die in a car crash, it would not be an accident. Her fears of being targeted were well documented, and she even wrote a note expressing concerns that her life was in danger due to palace intrigue. To understand the events leading to that night, one must examine her troubled relationship with Prince Charles. The so-called fairy tale marriage was anything but magical. Charles had a long-standing relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles, and the late princess's awareness of his ongoing affection for Camilla left her feeling isolated and unloved. The public scrutiny and family tensions led to severe struggles with her mental health, including eating disorders and even suicide attempts. By the year 1992, the couple had separated, and their divorce was finalized in 1996. She was finally free to live life on her terms, but the freedom came with its own dangers. Fast forward to August 31st, 1997. The royal and her boyfriend, Dodi Fayed, attempted to evade the paparazzi by slipping out the back of the Ritz Hotel in Paris. The couple, along with Dodi's bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones and driver Henri Paul, climbed into a Mercedes and sped off toward Dodi's nearby apartment. Unfortunately, the high-speed chase ended in disaster. The car collided with a pillar in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. Henri and Dodi died instantly. She, initially conscious but gravely injured, later succumbed to internal injuries. Trevor survived but with severe injuries and no memory of the crash. Photographers were among the first to arrive at the crash scene. Some attempted to help, while others took photos of the wreckage and its occupants. Their actions were widely condemned, and several were arrested, though charges were later dropped. Adding to the chaos, eyewitnesses reported seeing the car being chased by paparazzi on motorcycles shortly before the crash. Police later confiscated rolls of film from the photographers, but the question remains, what role, if any, did their pursuit play in the tragedy? Operation Paget, a British investigation launched years after the crash, explored 175 conspiracy theories surrounding the death. Among these theories was the claim that she was pregnant with Dodi's child, a revelation that allegedly enraged the royal family. However, blood tests at the hospital showed no evidence of pregnancy. There were also rumors of an engagement, fueled by Dodi's purchase of a ring. While a ring was indeed bought, close friends of the late princess dismissed the idea that she intended to remarry. Another focal point of suspicion was Henri Paul. His intoxication was heavily scrutinized, but many found it odd that someone supposedly so drunk would have been entrusted with the safety of two very important individuals. Blood tests confirmed a high alcohol level, yet those who interacted with him that evening reported no signs of impairment. His financial situation also raised eyebrows. He was discovered to have large sums of money in his possession in multiple bank accounts, leading to speculation that he might have been bribed to orchestrate the crash. Some even suggested involvement by British intelligence services, citing unverified claims that Paul's name appeared in intelligence files. The mysterious white Fiat Uno seen in the tunnel added another layer of intrigue. Paint traces from the Fiat were found on the wrecked Mercedes, suggesting a collision before the crash. While authorities identified the Fiat's owner, a security guard, he denied any connection to the incident. Witnesses claimed he repainted the car shortly after the crash, fueling suspicions. Then there's the bright flash of light reported by some witnesses at the tunnel's entrance. This flash, they claimed, could have temporarily blinded Henri Paul, causing him to lose control of the vehicle. However, Operation Paget dismissed this theory, arguing that such a light would have disoriented all drivers in the tunnel, not just Paul. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect was her warnings about a potential plot against her. She had expressed concerns about tampering with her car's brakes and had written a note implicating Prince Charles in an alleged scheme to have her eliminated. While some dismissed her fears as paranoia, her eventual death in a car crash eerily mirrored the scenario she had described. Adding to the mystery, none of the 14 closed-circuit television cameras along the route leading to the tunnel were recording that night. This glaring absence of footage has been a significant point of contention for conspiracy theorists who see it as evidence of a cover-up. Her worries about being bugged also came to light. She regularly requested security sweeps of her residence, and while no definitive evidence of surveillance was found, an unexplained signal was detected near her bedroom on one occasion, only to disappear the next day. Even the actions of first responders have been questioned. Instead of rushing her to the nearest hospital, they opted for a longer route, citing the severity of her injuries and the need for specialized care. This decision, while medically justifiable, has been viewed with suspicion by those who believe she could have survived if treated more quickly. Over the years, the official explanation for her death, reckless driving by an intoxicated Henri Paul, and the pursuit by paparazzi, has been repeatedly challenged. While investigations like Operation Paget debunked many of the conspiracy theories, unanswered questions remain. For some, these gaps in the narrative are proof of a deeper cover-up, while others see them as tragic coincidences in an already heartbreaking story. Her passing marked an end, but her legacy reshaped the future for those she left behind. The boys who walked behind the coffin, Prince William and Prince Harry, were just teenagers at the time, 15 and 12 respectively. After her death, the royal family faced heavy backlash for how they handled things. They stayed tucked away at Balmoral Castle, away from the media frenzy, letting the boys grieve in peace. However, many criticized this as cold and unfeeling. The situation calmed somewhat when the Queen returned to London, addressed the nation, and took part in public mourning. It was a move that many felt came too late. The funeral became one of the most unforgettable moments in modern royal history. William and Harry, still so young, walked behind their mother's coffin. They were joined by Prince Charles, Prince Philip, and Earl Spencer, the late princess's brother. Watching those boys march behind their mother's coffin broke hearts worldwide. In later years, Harry admitted it was a moment no child should have to endure, even though he was glad, in a way, that he did. The late princess didn't just leave memories, she also left her sons a financial legacy. Her estate, initially worth £21 million, dwindled to about £13 million after taxes. The bulk of it was held in trust for William and Harry, who would get their shares when they turned 30. Smart investments grew the fund over time, and by 2014, each prince inherited around £10 million, along with personal treasures like their mother's wedding dress and her beloved jewelry. Later, William passed on the engagement ring to Catherine Middleton, keeping his mother's memory alive through such a personal gesture. Charity was a cornerstone of the late royal's life, and her sons have taken that legacy seriously. Prince William has centered his efforts on causes like mental health, homelessness, and conservation. He even co-founded the Heads Together campaign to break the stigma surrounding mental health struggles. Meanwhile, Prince Harry's work has mirrored his mother's compassion in different ways. He's heavily involved in mental health initiatives, co-creating the series The Me You Can't See. On top of that, he founded the Invictus Games, giving wounded and sick servicemen and women a platform to shine, a cause the late royal would surely have championed. Her influence extends into the personal lives of her sons as well. William and Catherine, now the Prince and Princess of Wales, are raising their 3 children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, with a deep awareness of their grandmother's legacy. Homemade cards for Granny have become a family tradition on special occasions, keeping her memory close even for the youngest royals. Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, paid tribute to her by naming their daughter Lilibet Diana. Harry has spoken often about feeling his mother's presence, especially during pivotal moments like stepping back from royal duties and moving to the United States. He's even credited the financial legacy with making their new life possible, calling it a protective gesture from beyond. The brothers haven't let the world forget her. In 2017, on the 20th anniversary of her passing, they unveiled a statue in her honor at Kensington Palace's sunken garden. It was a powerful way to celebrate her life and ensure her legacy endures for generations to come. Was Diana's enduring legacy a blessing or a burden for her family? Share your thoughts below, like if you agree, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.